The chaos that Trump's tariffs are causing right now is wild. So officially gone into effect today is 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada and 20% tariffs on China. You want to know the reaction? Stock markets around the world have fallen. Crypto markets have tanked. China just said if the United States persists in waging a tariff war, a trade war, or any other kind of war, the Chinese will fight them to the bitter end. Canada retaliated by vowing to impose a 25% tariff on all American imports, and Ontario's Premier Doug Ford said, if they want to try and annihilate Ontario, I will do anything, including cutting off their energy, with a smile on my face. Mexico hasn't responded just yet, but their president said that they have made contingency plans for the country. Europe will not be spared because more worldwide tariffs will kick in later this month and in April on aluminum, steel, agriculture, and cars, which will be a big hit for countries like Germany. In fact, shares in European car makers like BMW, Mercedes, and VW have all dropped hearing the news. The German minister said Europe will respond with unity and we will not be pushed around. Some countries are even proactively trying to save themselves. Japan's trade minister is expected to visit the US on a mission to secure exemptions from Trump's tariffs. And this is all before Trump's State of the Union address, where he said, tomorrow night will be big. I will tell it like it is. Here we go.
Here's what I'm not understanding about all this tariff business, right? Let's say I am an American company. American made, American manufactured, whatever. And I have a product that costs $10. $10. My biggest competitor makes the same product I do, same type of product, is in a Canada or a Mexico. And their price point is also $10. But now with that 25% tariff, their product now costs what? $12.50. Why wouldn't I, American company, capitalist, trying to increase profits and margins for my shareholders, why wouldn't I just raise my price to $12? It's still cheaper than, the foreign product. It's American made, but folks are just paying more for it for no reason. Why wouldn't I just do that? Why wouldn't I just, and think about that. Me, regular average dude, can think of this. I know these think tanks can think of this and more. They probably are been thought about this. These tariffs don't just raise prices on foreign goods. They raise the price of every fucking thing.
I watched Trump's joint address to Congress, so you don't have to, and here are the top 3 takeaways you need to know. Number 1, Trump the showman is back. Not only was this the longest speech to a joint session of Congress ever, it was also lively and animated. He focused mostly on touting what he has already done in the last 43 days and trying to entertain the audience. He went off script numerous times to tell jokes.
And we have Marco Rubio in charge. Good luck, Marco. Now, we know who to blame if anything goes wrong.
He gave away some prizes.
Officially make you an agent of the United States Secret Service.
True to form, he was creating good television, and it was a stark contrast to his inauguration address. Number 2, things are tense in DC right now. Not even 5 minutes in, House Speaker Mike Johnson had to ask the Sergeant of Arms to remove Representative Al Green from the gallery for standing up, waving his cane around, and shouting at Trump. As Trump entered the Capitol, Representative Melanie Stansbury held up the sign saying, "This is not normal," which Texas Republican Lance Gooden promptly ripped out of her hands and threw it around the ground. Democrats also held up Musk steals and Save Medicaid signs throughout and shouted "liar" repeatedly at Trump. Plus, a bunch of Democrats left partway through the speech out of frustration. Number 3, he's just getting started. Trump pledged to continue his current, quote, swift and unrelenting action. He said he's going to balance the budget. He promised he was going to get Greenland, quote, one way or the other. He said he was going to take over the Panama Canal. He promised to lower prices, specifically egg prices, which he blamed Biden for the price of. He doubled down on his promise to tariff anybody that tariffs us. But he did acknowledge that prices will probably go up in the meantime, but said that we are okay with that. He called for extending his first-term tax cuts. He reiterated his promise for mass deportations and so much more. And he said he's not slowing down anytime soon. Whether or not he keeps these promises, only time will tell.
Welcome back to Eco Room Vibes. Before we get into today's deep dive, huge shout out to all the original creators and stitches who have been covering this topic. Your insights, breakdowns, and reactions are what keep these discussions going. If you have seen powerful clips on this, drop them in the comments so we can keep the conversation alive. Now let's get into it. Trump's new tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China are causing global economic chaos, and people are calling this the start of the Trumpcession. Are MAGA voters finally realizing the impact of these policies, or are they still blaming everyone but themselves? We'll break it down. So you guys, we hope you enjoyed the video. So after the end of the video, you still hear more commentaries.
So Donald Trump, our little master negotiator, already has backed down from some of his tariffs on Canada and Mexico, specifically on automobiles, because Trump knows that the American people were about to pay tens of thousands of dollars more for their cars, and Trump realizes that would be an extremely unpopular thing for him to do. It sounds like Trump was essentially pressured by the big three automakers, Ford, GM, and Stellantis, to stop immediately, and that even though Trump says he wants automakers to move all production to the United States and that'll bring the prices down for Americans, these automakers must have talked some sense into him and said, hey, we can't do that, and we definitely can't do that overnight, and all you're going to do is ruin the economy, which is still happening, by the way. He still hasn't backed down from the rest of his tariffs, and prices are set to continue rising. They say that prices on everything from groceries to electronics could go up within the next few weeks. So very terrible idea from Trump, absolutely insane, but hopefully he continues to back down and show us what a weak man he really is.
A senior member of the Trump team just floated a bonkers theory on Fox News. Peter Navarro, a senior counselor to President Trump on trade, floated this batshit theory to Brett Baier about why the Trump administration is inexplicably imposing tariffs on Canada.
Please listen to us. Canada could do a lot more. Canada has been taken over, Brett, by Mexican cartels. They bring up these pill presses and printers and the medicines that they fake. You can't tell the difference.
We're remembering Navarro has served time for contempt of Congress and is as loyal a Trump sycophant as you will find.
People really think that these two weren't going to retaliate on the tariffs that were just imposed yesterday or a day ago? Lo and behold, both of these presidents were like, well, if you want to impose taxes on Mexico and Canada, well, we're going to hit you with the 25% tariffs on our imported goods and services. And you want to know what's the difference between these two candidates and our Mr. Cheeto Head who we have in presidency is that they recognize that the tariffs that America has just put on their own citizens is going to affect America more than Mexico and Canada. They know that. It is going to affect Mexico and Canada, but not as much as it's going to affect us. And they also know that the tariffs that they're putting in their own countries are going to affect their own people. You think that they want to do this, but they have to retaliate. Because Trump right now, he's literally acting like a dictator. He's siding with dictators. I don't know how people don't see this. I know that there are some of y'all that see it, but the others? What? Y'all, prepare yourself when y'all go to the groceries in the next couple of days, because your pockets are going to be feeling real thin.
Watch Chrystia Freeland today explain that Donald Trump's tariff threats are the biggest threat to Canada since World War II.
If I am elected as Prime Minister, the first thing that I will do is urgently convene a meeting of the premiers of the provinces and territories and convene a meeting of Canadian business leaders and union leaders. And I will say to them, we are facing economic warfare. We are facing what is the gravest threat to our country since the Second World War.
Chrystia Freeland talks like Donald Trump's tariffs are the worst thing to ever happen to Canada. Well, they got into power in 2015 and she was part of it, and we lost a decade of economic growth. Our GDP per capita today is the same as it was 10 years ago. Freeland absolutely loves Orange Man Bad because it covers up 10 years of lost economic growth, GDP per capita. Because she's already started to blame Donald Trump for this track record. We'd love to hear from you in the comments section. Thanks for watching.
Guys, if you just stay really quiet and go outside for a second, you can literally hear Canada laughing at us right now. Listen.
So let's talk about the impact of tariffs. Trump's tariffs were supposed to protect American businesses, but instead, they have sparked global retaliation. Mexico, Canada, and China, three of the US's biggest trading partners, are hitting back with their own tariffs, making US exports more expensive. Farmers, manufacturers, and consumers are feeling the pain. Prices are rising, businesses are losing profits, and supply chains are falling apart. Example, American automakers rely on cheap materials from Canada and Mexico. With new tariffs, costs are skyrocketing, forcing them to raise prices or cut production. Now, the Trumpcession and MAGA regrets. You see, economists are warning that these tariffs are accelerating what some call the Trumpcession, a self-inflicted economic downturn caused by reckless policy. Red states that heavily rely on agriculture and manufacturing are getting hit the hardest. Many MAGA voters are waking up to the fact that voting for policies meant to punish other countries is backfiring on them directly. Example, farmers in Nebraska. I believe you guys must have watched one of our videos where the title is Nebraska in Tears. You see, farmers in Nebraska and Iowa are losing millions because China has stopped buying American soybeans and corn, shifting to Brazil instead. Now, let's talk about the global chaos and the bigger picture. These tariffs aren't just an American problem. They are destabilizing global markets. The cost of goods is rising worldwide. Businesses are pulling out of trade deals, and inflation is getting worse. Trump's America First approach is isolating the US, and global leaders are pivoting away from relying on American trade. Now, let's give another example. You see, China is now strengthening economic ties with Russia and the European Union, while Mexico is negotiating new trade deals with South American nations. So guys, at the end of the day, these tariffs are a huge gamble with America's economy. And so far, they seem to be hurting the very people who supported them the most. Is this truly the economic power move MAGA voters believed in? Or is this another round of fearful consequences? Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Echo Room Vibes. More deep vibes coming soon. Thank you guys for watching. And make sure you put down your comments and let's keep the conversation going. Peace.